Okay, so moving over to the NBA, we got this team, up there in Philadelphia, the 76ers. We got quite a snowball effect going on up there with one Ben Simmons. It came out today, reported by Chris Broussard of Fox Sports 1, that Ben Simmons had pretty much came out and said, I would play for the other 29 teams, just not Philadelphia. I don't care who it is. I'm not coming back to Philadelphia. All right, cool. In the midst of Ben Simmons, that information coming out, I think some writers and USA Today writer Jeff Zingit, I think that's how you say his name. He dropped an article, and that article kind of insinuated that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons don't get along. That's the problem, pretty much. And Joel Embiid defended himself by saying, "Stop." Listen, media, stop trying to use me as a scapegoat. It ain't my fault that this thing didn't work. Like, me and Ben, we have respect for each other. We can play with each other. Y'all need to be looking at the management, the ownership, the other, talent on the team. But stop trying to put me and Ben against each other, because we actually like playing with each other. It might not be the prettiest thing, but we do. So, with that said, Jay, my question to you is it fair of the criticism that Embiid is getting, saying that because of his relationship with Ben Simmons, that is probably the foremost reason why, one, Ben Simmons want to be out of town, and two, Philadelphia has not made it past the second round of the playoffs?
I would have to definitely lean unfair, and that's even if the reporting is true and there is indeed a rift between Embiid and Simmons. I don't really know. Joel Embiid, as you say, definitely is denying that USA Today op-ed that came out yesterday. Had some pretty somewhat harsh words for the media, as not an unusual thing when writers will, write stories that don't reflect well on certain athletes. It's kind of just is what it is. But even if that reporting is true, I have very little problem with Joel Embiid if he indeed has a problem with Ben Simmons. The fingers should be pointed at the ownership and the decision makers in the 76er, the front office. Particularly, I'd probably start with Daryl Morey up there. Remember, Daryl Morey came over from Houston last year. This is his first season running the show for the Philadelphia 76ers. Same can be said for Doc Rivers. Right. I think, look, if you can't get this guy working with Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers, that's probably enough. And I'm just at the point, and my position is unchanged on Ben Simmons. There was a pretty healthy debate couple of years ago about if you had to trade one of them, because there was certain like rumblings of like, man, I'm unsure if this can work. For Ben Simmons, always won't shoot the ball at all. For Joel Embiid, it's a health thing. I've always been in the camp of Joel Embiid, because if you can solve the health and just keep this guy healthy, do some load managing, whatever you need to do, this is an MVP candidate, a perennial MVP candidate. And that's what he showed this year. I thought he deserved the MVP. He didn't get it, but he was the runner-up. So we know what Joel Embiid is about. Ben Simmons definitely, he available. He don't miss many games. But, I mean, as far as, being the guy that can lead you to where you're trying to go, I mean, this guy don't even look like a two. I mean, we talking throughout the NBA playoffs last year, and I'm looking at Tobias Harris looking like the number 2 on this team, which is dangerous in itself, because I've been kind of critical of Tobias Harris since he's been in Philadelphia. Right. But that just speaks volumes. Like, if Ben Simmons can't be your number 2, and we talk about Embiid and Simmons, they always pretty much in the same sentence together. So you would think those are the 2 guys that are going to do it for you. Ben Simmons was not good in the playoffs this season. I mean, this is a guy that, to me, just shrunk from the moment, could not find – I mean, we criticize Giannis for the free throw shooting. This guy should, this is just horrible. 34% from the free throw line in the playoffs, and just, you can just tell, just disinterested in like even having the ball because he don't want to go to the free throw line. So, I mean, this guy here, an alleged 6'10" point guard with no ability to shoot the ball whatsoever. I'm not even one of these people that care about 3-point shooting. I could care less. Shoot the ball from somewhere though. Could we get outside the paint and shoot the ball from 15 feet? Could we shoot a free throw consistently? We can't even do that. And for all the good things that Ben Simmons does, great court vision, great passer. We talk about him, you know, all defensive type guy in the conversation for defensive player of the year. But you cannot be the second best player on a championship team, in my opinion, and especially if you gonna call yourself a point guard and you cannot shoot the ball at all. So, and we listen, none of this is surprising because the Sixers been out here, they've been dangling to do that in trade talks. We broke down some ludicrous offer they gave Golden State, and Golden State just laughed them off the Zoom call or whatever. It's like, really? You want Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, and what, 4 first-round picks for a guy who allergic to the free throw line?
That's crazy.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and pass. Come back next time. See, and so Philadelphia, not only they should not be pointing to Joel Embiid, they should be looking in the mirror, Daryl Morey and whoever else come up with these trade offers, and they should be looking at themselves like, man, what are we doing? Nobody wants a point guard that's shooting 34% from the free throw line. So Joel Embiid is far from the problem. Joel Embiid is the reason Philadelphia 76ers fans should be excited for the future. But this whole Ben Simmons thing, I think, and now you got the trade offers in the offseason. So Ben Simmons obviously gonna feel some type of way about that. I think it's over for Ben Simmons in Philadelphia. They're just gonna have to, eat a little bit of crow and say, we'll ask for a little less. Maybe we'll take a little bit less in return, because that whole Golden State offer was just a clown show.
Yo, first of all, if that's eating crow, then because listen, that what they asked for from Golden State, that's not it. That's not it. Like, I don't know who in the hell you thought you was getting. This ain't Steph Curry. This ain't Kevin Durant. This ain't like LeBron. Well, younger LeBron. Like, what?
That's disrespectful.
That thing was the. I don't know. That offer was crazy. So first of all, I think they do need to bring it. Turn it down a little bit and make a reasonable trade offer. Reasonable, because that is about as unreasonable as it gets in the NBA. To get to the question at hand, yes, I do. I'm with Joel Embiid on this. I think this is some bull crap. Listen, the problem that you having, and I'm not gonna necessarily blame it on Daryl Morey or Doc Rivers because it's both of their first season. This problem existed before they even got to the organization.
That's right.
This an old regime problem, because Ben Simmons is the same player that got drafted #1 overall back in the day. That's the problem. So I agree with Joel when he say, listen, stop coming at me about this, because me and Ben don't really have a bad situation. But when you add in the media, when you add in all this other stuff, they're just trying their best to tear us apart. Now I look like the bad guy, and this is just not fair, man. Because I don't have a problem with Ben, but I do believe just Ben Simmons. I hate to say his work ethic, because I don't know what his work ethic is, but what I do know is Ben Simmons don't look really no different than he did when he was a rookie, when he won the Rookie of the Year. So if you telling me he a hard worker, he's in the gym day and night, but he still look like the first overall pick from whatever, I forgot the actual draft, but what are you really saying? What are you saying about his training personnel or the 76ers training personnel or whoever he works out with? What are you really saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, clearly they're not doing what they're supposed to do, because if they were, like you said, Ben Simmons at 6'10" shouldn't be allergic to go to the free throw line. He shouldn't rather get the COVID-19 shot rather than shoot a three. I don't understand why Ben Simmons is wasting his prime like this, because I feel like he has the ability to be a better player. He just don't care about it, and maybe he's getting some bad advice. I don't know. Clutch Sports, what we doing? Like somebody need to be in this man's ear and giving him the gravy. Because right now this ain't it. Now, I feel like I agree with you. His days as a Philadelphia 76er are over. It's over. Like stick a fork in it, it's over. Where he go from here, it's a lot of spots he can go if they offer a reasonable trade package. It's places he can go. My problem is wherever he go, he's still not gonna shoot. He's still not gonna be able to make free throws. The only difference is he'll go to the let's say he go to the West Coast and they gonna be on his head on the West Coast like they was over on the East Coast. That's the only difference. But I don't know, man. Ben is the only person that can fix Ben Simmons' problems. Cause everything that he's getting right now is, if you ask me, is self-warranted. He's doing this to himself. He refused to go shoot free throws. He refused to shoot threes. He just fell flat in the playoffs. Like we give Joel Embiid a lot of trash about not taking the game serious. And then last year he took the game more serious. I would say. Now you flip the coin. Now you got Ben Simmons that's not doing that. And what's up? We need to be on Ben Simmons' head just like we was on Joel Embiid. Because we see what Joel Embiid can do when he put his best foot forward. Ben, we're going to get you to put your best foot forward. This is probably an NBA Finals team if we could just get everybody to do their part. And right now, that's the problem. So, I'm with you. Keep Joel. Trade, Simmons away. Get you some young pieces. I heard something on the horizon with Sacramento, De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and some other guy. If you can make that trade happen, that would work wonders for Joel Embiid. Because De'Aaron Fox is a legitimate point guard. Buddy Hield is a legitimate shooter. You can space the floor. Joel Embiid can do his thing in the paint. That would be wonderful. But with all that said, man, like, listen, it is what it is. Like, Ben Simmons, like, this is a fundamental problem that happened before Moore, that happened before Rivers, and quite frankly, I don't know how you fix it, but it won't get fixed in Philadelphia. It just won't.